state. But if there was one thing Inés had learned from her time as a butterfly, it was that life is inescapably about change, even when one is standing still. There is always movement happening in one's body, mind, and soul, just as there is always movement in a body of water, in the sky, or on a stretch of land. Inés had just turned 14, and her childish desires were being replaced by those of a young woman, while her human impulses still remembered her butterfly ones. And now, as the breeze strengthened into a gust of wind, she was overwhelmed by a strong urge to take flight, to let a current carry her to distant lands, to embark on a new adventure. A clump of fallen leaves was propelled into the air and swirled past her, then floated back down to the ground. But one leaf defied gravity and continued to dance in the air, spinning around an invisible center like a kaleidoscope of orange, black, and white. Inés watched it closely, immediately recognizing it as a monarch butterfly. She could even hear its wings flapping, or at least she imagined she could. And it was a familiar and comforting sound. The monarch came to rest on a fallen branch in the grass near Inés's feet, and Inés concluded that it was a female due to the absence of black spots on its hind wings. The late afternoon sun cut through the air like a shard of glass, and its rays gilded the edges of the butterfly's wings and shone through their stained glass patterns as they would through a cathedral's windows. And, indeed, this explosion of orange tempered by stark black lines and adorned with white diamonds had a similarly spiritual effect on Inés as she admired it. The natural world was her church, and this and every monarch butterfly's wings were her portal to it. The butterfly proceeded to sunbathe by gently stretching her wings, which absorbed the sun's heat through thousands of overlapping scales that were rather like tiny solar panels. As a monarch, Inés had done this many times herself, and she recalled how the rays had filled her body with tremendous energy, great strength, and an intense desire to fly. It was proof that the sun's fire was at the center of all life on Earth, and Inés now became aware of the sun's warmth, trickling along her human skin as well, slipping into every pore and filling her body with renewed vigor. Inés was starting to remember a language she had almost forgotten, and she wished to communicate with the butterfly. But she decided not to disturb it, for she knew it would soon be embarking on a very long journey, the adventure of its lifetime, and it needed all the energy it could get. One winter, years earlier, during a visit to her father's hometown in Michoacán, Mexico, Inés had been told by her grandmother Andrea that many Mexicans believed the monarchs to be the souls of the deceased, arriving each November to visit their living relatives for the Day of the Dead. And while Inés had grown up in this New England town, seeing hundreds of monarchs flitting by every summer and fall, up until last year, she had never given much thought to the fact that it was the same monarchs filling the sky in both places, and that they were about to embark on, or had just completed, a 3,000-mile migration full of obstacles and danger. There was a sudden drop in the air's temperature, and Inés was flooded with sensations that broke down all the barriers between her body and its surroundings.